this. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
All right, guys, we're here. We're live. You're watching Buster Unmasked. And look, we got an awesome show for you today. I got a great guest. I've been looking forward to this. But before we get started, look, be sure to like, be sure to share this video and all other Buster H.R. Johnson content. And most of all, go to YouTube, Buster H.R. Johnson on YouTube, and subscribe. All right, guys, my guest today, look, this dude is a hot commodity around the Mid-South area. He is currently a champion at 3 different promotions around the Mid-South area. He is the Vanity Killer, and everybody kneels to Vane. I bring to you the one and only Dorian Vane. Dorian,
hello.
What's up, dude?
What's going on, man?
Dude, man, you're going on. That's what's going on, man.
A lot has changed since the last podcast.
Yes, sir, man. I said you were a hot commodity. Man, you're everywhere. You're the champion of 3 different companies. You're the heavyweight champion at Committed to Wrestling. You're the heavyweight champion at MIW. And you're the nation's champion, right, at NOCW?
NOCW. Yes, sir.
Dude, where do we even begin, man? I really don't know where to begin. Let's start right here, Dorian. The last time we talked, man, you were getting ready for the first show back for Committed to Wrestling.
Yes.
Obviously, that show's come to pass. Y'all had a few more shows.
A lot more shows.
You're the heavyweight champion. So let's just start there, because I'll be honest with you. Committed to Wrestling, I don't know a whole lot about. They're new to me. Actually, the first time I'd even heard of them was when you were on last time, and we were talking about the show coming up. So let's start right there and talk to me about Committed to Wrestling. Talk to us about the company, maybe the talent, and then talk to us about how you became the heavyweight champion.
Well, from the get, it was kind of funny how it all started. I think I was leaving from an NCW show, and I got real cool with Hunter Havoc, and Hunter Havoc, inboxes me on Facebook and was like, "Hey man, there's a show where they needed a guy, and it was for Committed." And I was like, "Yeah, cool. I'll come to the show. I'll come work it." I don't think I was working that Saturday, and I came to the show and ended up working Big Ace. And it was me and Big Ace versus the Storm in a tag match. I ended up turning on Big Ace for the first show, and then he ended up turning on me at the other show to become a babyface. He became heel. So it was a dynamic like that, and then I won the Committed Wrestling Heavyweight title at the next show after that tag match we had, because I ended up doing another tag match. First, it was a tag match with me and Ace as partners. Turned on him. The next show, Ace turned on me. And then later on that night, I ended up having a tag match with my tag partner was a Cameron. His name was Cameron, then Don Cameron, and then versus his brother at Full Deck. And then I ended up winning the community heavyweight title at the Battle Royal.
Well, look, Mark McGee's with us. He said, "Good evening, brothers. What's up, Mark? I appreciate you joining
What's
us."
going on, man?
Nix is here. She said, "All the things, all the things." I know
All
there's
the
some big
things.
stuff that you can't talk about, but we're going to hint to it, man. Dorian Vane, man. Big things popping off. You just never know where this man might pop up, man. You just never
So,
know.
so
So,
it's what's up?
no, go ahead, Dorian.
So yeah, that's what ended up happening, and I've been their champion since. I think that match happened. I want to say earlier this year. It was earlier this year. I want to say a February show, but Community Wrestling is owned by Marco Rose.
That's what I was going to ask you. Tell us a little bit about Committed to Wrestling itself, the company.
Well, the next
Where you
show is called Destiny, without being a triple threat match with me going versus Brian Valor versus Draven. So we'll be going. It'll be a triple threat match for the Community Wrestling Heavyweight Title. It's actually next Friday, June 21st, on Summer Avenue. Bell times at 7:30. So that would 10 times out of 10 we got the main event, and it's going to be for the championship. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Well, as the champion, I would just assume you are going to be the main event, dude. They can't put the Vanity Killer in the opening match,
Hey
man.
man, something I've been semi-main before.
My main,
I've been semi-main before. It's all good.
a little umbrage to that semi-main, man. Hold on now. That's a little too high up the card, man, or a little too low on the card, however way you look at it, dude.
I've been semi-main before as a when it, but we are definitely the main event, so it's great. But it's I like Committed. Committed is I like Marco. Marco's a cool guy. I know it's been under they've been Marco, and to be honest with you, a lot of the promoters around the area have been feeling some type of way when it comes to me in the Memphis in the Mid-South area. Not all promotions that I work for, but definitely a few have been
Well,
having their issues with me. It's like a tug of war.
Right. And here's the thing. You're a hot commodity, like I said, and you're all over the place. So let's talk about it a minute. I mean, it's kind of the old adage in the wrestling business. Every promoter wants their talent to be exclusive to them.
Exclusive to them.
Dorian Vane, hot commodity. You got to go where the cash comes, where the titles are. So talk to us about that, because like you said, it's kind of like a tug of war, and that's nothing new in this business. It's gone on since the day pro wrestling started. But now you're the one in the middle of the tug of war. They're fighting over you. They're tugging you each way. So talk to us about it, Dorian.
Well, how I typically on average look at it is the fact of I look at just me as a talent. I think of like this, and I said this to someone before, and I said that there's really, if you really think about it, there's not exactly a whole lot of talent in this area, in the tri-state, that look the part,
right?
That can work. Oh, my dear, thumbs up. That can look the part, that can work, that looks credible, that you could put on an actual poster, that you can actually have on the show, and they also deliver as well. There's not a lot of people out there in the area. Like, there's probably maybe a handful that you can really say that is either ready for the next level or you can see at the next level. There's not a lot of talent in the area. And people act like, the promoters in the area act like that they can't share that talent. Like, he has to just work for me. That's it. That's not how that works. Like, there's a lot of, I'm not sure that's how they want it to work. But the thing is, though, you can't, but you can't sit here and it's same thing with female wrestling, with women's wrestling. There's a smaller finite of those that actually look the part, that can actually work and are actually credible and everything else. I mean, granted, it's more men talent out there that's like that. I mean, there's a few I can think of top of my head that's like that beside myself. There's Bullwhip.
Right.
There's freaking I ain't gonna name too many more names. 'Cause I'm gonna get in trouble. But I'm gonna get in trouble. Why didn't Dorian name me?
Hey,
What do you mean, Dorian?
you steady
I don't
getting
wanna do
heat,
that.
man. You steady getting heat,
I
dude.
don't care. Let me tell you something. I've experienced heat from the very start of this whole wrestling thing in the first place. I don't care about heat. I don't care about it.
Dude, that's a good thing, though. People, look, when you get heat from the very first time you step around, people's taking notice of you, dude. There's some reason you're getting this heat, whether it's your look, whether it's your talent, whatever it is. If you're getting heat, then you're doing something right. They're haters. I mean, that's as simple as that, man. If you got haters, then you're on the right track. You're doing something. And look, Nick said eventually where their contracts are. And here's the thing. I understand from a promoter standpoint, if I've got Dorian Vane, I got the Vanity Killer looking the way you look, the charisma, the attitude. Sure, I want you exclusive to my company, as exclusive as I can possibly have you. But at the end of the day, you need to be paid too. Nobody's out here paying exclusive money for anybody around here. I mean, it's just as simple as that.
You better cut that out, Buster, because the simple fact that you better cut that out because they're paying me an exposure. You better understand that's what they're doing around here. They're paying big bucks in exposure, okay?
And you're everywhere, dude. I mean, literally, you are everywhere.
Money.
I've seen you on Committed to Wrestling, MIW, NOCW, 901. You're making your return to EPW here, what, in a week or so?
This Saturday.
This Saturday to EPW. Is there any company that I missed that you're working for? You work for MCW on Saturdays.
I do. When I can, I do go to Mark Tree shows because
see, John Carlson said what happened to MCW, so perfect time.
See, MCW is a place where I cut my teeth at. So MCW holds the Claps, MCW, they hold a very, 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 very soft place in my heart for MCW. It's just I just needed to venture out a little bit more and wrestle a little bit more people.
Right.
And that's really just what it is. I eventually plan on coming back at some point. But in the meantime, I love to work their Mark Tree shows that they have. I love to see them. The Clabs, David, Harry, all those guys. They are Derek.
Right.
They're the reasons why, and they're that company, and of course APW. For when I first started, are there places where I really cut my teeth at during the time, and they are I really them and I would say Simon from the Posse and I would say Presh are the Martin Boyd are the reasons why that I'm able to not only keep a clear head, but they're also the reasons why they let me hold my craft there. They let me cut my teeth there. They're the ones that sat there and told me when can I cuss?
Oh yeah, you can say what you want to.
Ah, fuck yeah. They said that's what they're the ones that they'll tell you they're the ones that'll tell you they're the shit. And it's that kind of constructive criticism. At the time, you might not think it's constructive criticism, but it's constructive criticism that they're giving you. So if anybody is ever trying to get better or learn a little bit more when it comes to wrestling, especially just starting out, MCW is the perfect place to learn. I'll recommend that place to anybody because those guys they know what they're talking about. Darius gonna be there and he's gonna tell you the shit.
Right.
And it's hilarious. But nevertheless, it's one of the best places to work at. And MIW is one of the best places to work at. I would put MIW, I've been able to do my best character work because of the level of freedom I have when it comes to MEMPHIS and everything else because of MIW.
Right. So look, Mark McGee's with us. He said, I enjoy Dorian. I just get pissed when he gets screwed over in matches, man.
It happens.
So Hold on, Nix is back with us. She says, want to face me again, Dorian? Now, I heard about this. So since she said it, let's go on and let's elaborate a little bit. Dorian, talk to me about the last time you faced off with Nix.
My last, we didn't go for blows. I don't do too much of the intergender wrestling thing. But what happened is that my last Friday night in MCW, it wasn't my last Friday, my next to last Friday night at MCW, it was me and Allie X versus Nixon Too Good. She came in and saved Too Good from shenanigans, and then we never did a tag match. And that's what happened. So that's just about it. We didn't go to blows. I didn't put my hands on her.
Sound like she's throwing out that open challenge to you, man. Sound like Nick says, "Hey, Dorian, anytime you're ready, man, step through those ropes. We'll see who the best is."
First, I as the man I am, I do not put hands on a woman. That's just not what I do. No women, no children. Oh, women, take that back. Let me take that back. When it comes to the children part, they're 18 and above. Shout out to Chris Rocker's kids.
So they can catch that ass whooping, huh?
Yes, sir. I know what's funny is that not recently, but I want to say about half a month ago, I ended up beating up Chris Rocker's kids. That was great. That was a lot of fun.
Well, I know we mentioned MIW, and I know you got a big match coming up. I think it's this Friday with DJ Fury.
DJ Fury. You know what? First off, I need people to understand this, is that also this Sunday is Father's Day. So I want everybody to, I accept Venmo. I do accept Cash App. I'll put all that, later on my Facebook page. Just people that want to send their provider a Father's Day gift. But this Friday, I do have DJ Fury, and he got a lucky pin on me. It took I think it was. What was it? It was. He ended up getting some help. He had Chuck Norbit, who is a referee turned wrestler.
Wrestler, right?
Whatever that means. He should have stayed a ref. And then I had it's DJ Fury, who's the size of my thigh, and we're about to wrestle on Friday night. And he's excited for it. I've never seen somebody at such a harsh disadvantage to be excited over to get his butt whooped all over MIW. I don't get it. But hey, it happens. People need that level of delusion to keep themselves going, I guess.
Dorian, look, man. Don't sell DJ Fury short.
He sells himself short. Genetics sold him short. What you mean?
All jokes aside, man, I love DJ, man. I've seen him alive time after time. He is explosive. Dynamite comes in small packages, Dorian, and DJ Fury is dynamite waiting to explode.
C4 comes in big packages. What people need to understand. C4 comes in bigger packages than that. But
so
I've seen C4.
So are you saying you're C4 and he's kind of like a little cherry bomb? Is that kind of what we're
he's like a sparkler. He's one of those little sparklers that you get on the 4th of July. You just put around. That's what he is. That's DJ Fury.
Now you said he got a quick pin on you already, Dorian.
Let me tell you something. I don't get emotional over stuff that doesn't happen for real. Like, I don't get emotional over stuff that doesn't happen for real. He can't do that all the time. He did it one time. That's it. Why would I get upset over something I know it can't happen again? That's like me missing the eclipse. I know it's not going to happen again. So why would I get upset about looking at the eclipse? I know it's going to happen again. It's not going to happen again. Excuse me. Why would I get upset about that? Why would I get upset about him? Come on.
So look, Alicia Wayne's with us, and she says, Dorian Vane, high finger, red number 1. Now, I don't know what that means. I'm assuming you may know what that means.
I don't even know who she is. I don't even know of Alicia Wayne. I've never even heard of this woman.
Oh, I think she was actually on the last. I think she commented several times the last time you were on. She knows you. She knows you. I guess that's all that really counts, right?
High finger red number one. I don't even know who that is.
So look, let's kind of backtrack and talk to me about winning the MIW heavyweight title. We kind of heard the story about Committed to Wrestling, how you won that. Now talk to us about how you became the MIW heavyweight champion, man.
It was a triple threat. It was me versus Steven Styles versus Tyson Starr. Yeah, I think that's his name. Versus Tyson Starr. Good old t-shirt and kick pants. And I wrestled against Steven Styles. Um, yeah. Yeah, I wrestled Steven. That was a triple threat match. And I beat Steven. And that's the night that Just In Case decided to make good decisions, like he usually does. He decided to make decisions, be my consultant, and decided to go ahead and be my freaking manager. And it's a good thing. Good
I
things. Smart
I
things.
I seen that, man, and you know, for a while I thought it was going to be Justin Klein was going to be your dude, but it turned out to be Justin Case.
You
So
know, sometimes people like to miss boats. Sometimes when what's that terminology? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him think.
right.
And that's the same thing with Justin Klein. You can lead Justin Klein to some water, but you can't make him think. His boy is, granted, PPW is one of the best companies around in the Mid-South. I will not take anything away from PPW, and I won't take anything away from the PPW Junior Heavyweight Championship. But I just think Justin Klein's a little bit lazy. You know, having to hold 3 or 4 belts, having to come to all these shows, having to travel this time, had to make time for this. You know, let him be comfortable doing his 1 or 2 shows a month, holding that one junior heavyweight title. Have him be comfortable doing that. You know what's funny? And I've seen and noticed this lately. I know I got off subject, but it's just, you know how conversations flow into another conversation. So
Right, dude. That's
I've
what we do
seen
here.
I've seen lately that in the Mid South that we promote mediocrity so much in this area. It's like I see it all the time on social media. One guy goes to work his first show out of town, and people just, oh yay, yippee, he's
Right.
getting out of here. You're gonna don't let anybody hold you back. And I'm like, it's one show he worked out of town.
And I agree with that, man. I 100% wholeheartedly agree with what you
Mediocrity
just
in the
said.
Mid South. And what I think is, you know what's funny to me? You don't see too many people prop me up. You don't see too many people prop up, except for that last post you made. You don't see too many prop up freaking Bullwhip. You don't see too many people prop up the actual talent that's in this area. They always prop up, as I like to call, and don't get offended by this, I will call a special needs portion of the Mid South. And when it comes to wrestling, that's what I call it. And I hope I didn't offend anybody by saying the terms that the special needs people. I'm not saying they're actually special needs. I'm just saying the ones that you don't expect much out of. The
These
vanilla
half
children,
these
the
half
van,
asslers is what I call them.
the
Instead of
van,
wrestlers, they're half asslers.
the vanilla children, nothing special of the area, and that's exactly what it is. And it grinds my gears sometimes when I see it, because these are main people that you don't really see on a poster. They're the main people you don't really see working too much in another area. You're not really the same people that you see or hear about that's probably doing bigger things. They look the same as they've always have looked. Their gear doesn't ever change. You don't see any level of progression. Their promos are still mediocre. Their work is still not, you don't see any progression in their work. It's always, these people are always propped up. They know who they are. I don't really have to name it, but we all know who those people are. We all
Well,
know who they are.
here's the thing, man. Just like the post I made about Bullwhip, man, I try to call what I see and how I see it. And man, I've been keeping an eye on you, dude. And since the last time you were on the show to this time, man, you are miles ahead of what you were then, dude. And that's not been that long ago. It's like you're it's a snowball effect rolling, man. You keep rolling down the hill, and snowball keeps getting bigger and bigger and faster and faster. That's Dorian Vane in a nutshell, man. You're hot. Everybody wants you. Your character's off the charts. Your in-ring has improved a ton. Charisma, and obviously from day one, from the first day I seen you, your look, man. Like I said, you reminded me of an old school boxer. You just got a different look than everybody else out here. Your build and everything, man.
It's just a simple fact of, and I would say, when it comes to um, when it comes to me, when it comes to bullwhip, when it comes to, I'll even say when it comes to females, when it comes to Knicks, when it comes to, we all know who the next people is in line is going to be. We all know it. We all see it. And the thing is, though, but they expect us to do okay. But sometimes, and that's what the whole praise, people think the whole praise me thing is just something I say. It's real life, because of the simple fact of, I see so many other people get their props and they don't work nowhere near as hard as anybody else. You don't see them being extras for WWE. You don't see them getting extras. And people say, oh, it's so easy being an extra for WWE. It is easy if you have the connections to actually do it.
Right.
If you have the right email, Gabe Sapolsky, if you do it the right time, if anything else, above everything else, you also have to be willing to travel out and go venture out somewhere. They're not traveling 6 hours to go be a freaking extra for Impact. They're not doing that. Impact don't pay you to be an extra. Me and Knicks were extras for Impact. It was me, Knicks, Rest, Warren, and all those guys. We were extras at some point. And the thing is, though, granted, I don't probably shouldn't talk about that. I'm tripping.
Too late now, man.
Too late now. Oh man, I shouldn't talk about that. But anyways, but at the end of the day, but you don't see too many people actually trying and doing certain stuff to get their stuff out there. And it's the main ones that get complacent, that want to look down on other people when it comes to us, the people actually trying to do the thing on thing. And it's ridiculous.
Right, man. I look at it like this. If you're not trying to, don't even get in this business if you ain't trying to be the man, the guy. I mean, it's just simple as that. Everybody can't be the guy, but that don't mean you can't make it to the big show. And I don't think you should even waste your time if that is not your goal. If you do this for a hobby, I think get out, man, because here's the thing. You're taking a spot from holding a spot that somebody else could come along who really wants to make it in this business, could get that spot and get experience in, man. Like you, man, you're everywhere. You're getting a ton of experience now. I don't see how you have time to work at all these different companies sometimes, man.
It's a trial and tribulation. Sometimes I double shot, but also sometimes everything ends up weaving within itself. Like everything ends up being, when you're on top of your schedule and when the show has this date and that show has that date, you'll be able to weave it in between. You just got to keep it. You just have to maintain your own personal schedule and actually know when you can do this date, when you can't do that date. And sometimes take some level of prioritizing.
Right, and it's professionalism too. If you're going to do double shots, make sure you can make both of these shows before you accept both of these bookings. So
100%.
many times, guys, yeah, man, I'll do it, and then they don't make it to the other booking. They go to one first and never make it to the second one. It's bad business, man. Be professional.
100% bad business.
Bad business. Look, Alicia Wayne's back. She said, I miss you at MCW. Mark McGee's back. He said, Dorian is going to need some clones to be in all these spots all at once. I kind of agree, man. Maybe some multiplicity. Dorian Vane. You got a million monikers, dude. You're the Vanity Killer. Everybody deals the Vane and the Provider. Before we move on to NOCW, talk to me about the Provider. Where did the Provider come in at, man?
Well, the Provider came from a actual like how I would because when I became heavyweight champion and committed, it kind of started there, and I'm like, and I'm seeing some of the crowds actually come, especially when they go to the Summer Avenue location, which is the committed wrestling arena, is what I like to call it. So when I see the crowds there, and then the big old entrance for me, and I go to MIW and I see all the people there and the reaction I get there, then I go to NOCW and I see all the stuff that's going on right there and how everything goes when it comes to me in that area, and I'll be thinking like, and it's just a level of confidence as well as also the level of confidence I'm at, and it's also the level of where I believe that I am at when it comes to in the Mid South area. Because I worked all these different places and I do all these different things. I'm all these people in the three companies where I'm their heavyweight champion. I'm their guy in these companies,
Right.
and I'm like, I'm sure that the provider around here. Like I'm the one that's just like I said before, when it character wise it needed a next level to it,
Right.
and the next level to make me seem like my character is like the final boss is it needs something, another layer to it, versus just being me being the Vanity Killer versus just me being Mr. High Value versus me just being anything else. It needs a next level, and the next level of progression was me being the provider.
There you go, man. I like it. Look, before we get into NOCW, you mentioned Chris Rocker, MIW. So inform me a little bit about, because I know Chris Rocker well, man. To be honest with you, I wrestled Chris Rocker in my very first match. So I know Chris Rocker since I broke in this business. Inform me, talk to me a little bit about what's the issue with you and Rocker, man.
See, Rocker made the so me and Chris Rocker had a contract signing, right? And me being the genius that I am, and also me consulting with just in case, we decided that in most of these freaking contract signings on average, they end up in a ruckus. They always end up somebody getting put through a table, a big old
Right.
brawl or something like that. And I'm like, I'm not gonna go out like that. No, sir, not me. So me and just in case we put together a plan to where I will sign the contract if you handcuff yourself to the ring, handcuff yourself to the ropes. I'll get in there. You sign the contract, so that way it keeps me safe and it keeps you safe all in the same time. So that way
Oh,
we ain't sitting there having any kind of conflicts, and nobody getting a beat down. And I told him I won't put my hands on him. And I did not put my hands on him because you know me, I'm a man of my word. So I didn't put my hands on him. I didn't touch him. I didn't do any of that.
I
The
can't believe Chris Rocker actually agreed to that.
desperate. That's the terminology I would use. Anyways, but the thing is, when it comes to me and Chris Rocker, the thing is though, is the fact that I smelled it in the air, and me and just in case smelled it in the air. That level of desperation just to get my MIW heavyweight championship. It's it stunk. So to set an example and to like I said before, that's why I mentioned Father's Day, because I like to think I'm everybody's daddy around here. So and sometimes I'm a better father than some of these guys' actual dads. So I think in seeing the kind of man that Chris Rocker was and his level of desperation to handcuff himself to a ring, that's lunacy. Who does that?
I
But
agree with that.
nevertheless, um, to keep myself safe and keep himself safe. But the thing is, though, sometimes when opportunity calls, and I saw Chris Rocker's kids, and just in case saw Chris Rocker's kids. And we went over to the area, and I just think that they looked like they needed a level of discipline. They looked like they needed a lesson to be taught to them. So what happened is, I ended up beating up Chris Rocker's kids right
Wow,
there in
he's
front of him
handcuffed.
while he's handcuffs. While he's handcuffed.
Whoa,
Yeah.
man. How pissed off was Chris Rocker when he got unhandcuffed?
I wasn't around for it. I had left. I was already gone from the building by the time he got unhandcuffed. I think the ref had it or something like that. I don't care. But it was more than that. He saw me beat up his son. He saw me beat up his other son. He saw me choke his son right there in front of him while he was handcuffed. He was trying. He had like little bruises on his wrist or something like that, from what I've been told. And yeah, it happens, man. Cost of doing business.
So, look, Chris Rocker, experienced. Probably the most experienced guy in most dressing rooms he goes in. Most of the time, he's probably the most experienced guys, if not one of them. Man, you've made it personal now.
You know
Uh,
what's funny? You say that he's experienced, but he didn't. Where was his antennas when he didn't see that coming?
that's what I'm screaming too, man. I can't believe Rocker fell for that because Rocker's known to do some dirty
Ah,
tactics too, and I can't believe that he actually fell for that. I can see him saying, "Well, if you're handcuffed to a rope too, yeah, that's fine." But man, I don't know what was going on in Rocker's head. I might have to hit him up and find out what the hell he was thinking, Dorian.
you see, when you got a guy that's experienced, like just in case, to sit here and be my consultant, when you got somebody like that in your corner to help put these little jewels in your head, and somebody you're able to listen to, that's when stuff like that happens.
So just in case, man, he also handles another guy who's running roughshod all around Memphis wrestling, Big Aaron Roberts. Is there any chance that we might see Big Aaron show up at MIW2 and you and him tag team against anybody, or just basically
You
rule the
see,
whole MIW?
that's a just in case thing. That's not really a me thing. That's a just in case thing. I'm pretty sure just in case is like one of those, probably like one of those guys. He don't want his food to touch. So, he will probably want to keep his collard greens right here and keep his ham right there. So it's probably one of those things. It's a just in case thing. But any guy that's a friend of just in case is a friend of mine. So if
Hey
Aaron
man,
wants to come, we want to tag, I ain't got no problems with it whatsoever.
hey man, him and Aaron has ruled roughshod since they got together, and like you said, just in case knows talent. He picked you for a reason. Just in case seen something about Dorian Vane that he knew Dorian Vane was money. And that's what it boils down to. I mean,
Oh,
Dorian
man.
Vane is money. From the day I saw you, the first time I saw you, you looked like money standing in the ring, man.
And I appreciate that. But on to
Oh,
NOCW.
so here's the
So,
thing. Hold on, Dorian. Here's the thing about NOCW, man. I see the flyers all the time. I see them promoting, but I find very little footage out there. So I know very little about NOCW is what I'm trying to say. So smarten me up, man, to NOCW and the whole company and everything and some of the talent and all this, man.
well, it's owned by a guy named Tyshawn the Two. And I think he says the two. I think he calls himself the one, but he's number two. I'm there, so he's definitely number two. Tyshawn the two. So the thing is, he owns it. He's the type of guy that's. What happened is that I ended up winning the nation title in a fatal four way, where it was a triple threat, and it turned into a fatal four way. And in the instance of it turning into a fatal four way, one of my stablemates of the PCK, Pretty Classy Kings, I ended up kicking him out. I didn't think he was a good fit. You remember when Shawn Michaels kicked out Booker T of the NWO? on that Monday night. I think it was Raw. He kicked them out. He
Well,
sweet chin music right in the face. Just get out
man,
of here.
I'm more stuck on kicking Marty Jannetty in the face and throwing him through the window. But
Well, there was
you
an
know,
episode of Raw when Shawn Michaels decided to be part of the NWO and he kicked Booker T out the group. And that's exactly what I did to this guy named Stephen Dunn. Kicked him out the group, pinned him, took his belt off of him, and we beat him down. And that was basically the whole gist of the story. That's what happened.
so NOCW, if I'm thinking right, it stands for Nation of Championship Wrestling.
Yes, sir. That's exactly what it stands for.
Okay, and I know the company's been around for several years because, I mean, like I said, I see the flyers and stuff. Talk to me about where y'all run at and just talk to me about how you like
It's
NOCW, man.
it's on Henry Street, usually where the locations is usually it's on Henry Street out there close to downtown, North Memphis type of area. Oh, the ghetto. But that's just what my thought process is on it. But I like it enough. You see, the thing is though, I like it for the simple fact of I got my guys, the Pretty Classic Kings there with me. I basically do what I want to do, just like I do any other place I go to. I just basically do anything I can think of that I particularly would want to do in that company. And there's not really a lot of people that's going to stop me in the first place.
Man, I see you in the background. You got the weight set up, man, and with all this gold you got, man, you need to stay in shape just to tote these belts around, dude. But in general, that's the thing about pro wrestling, man. You got to take care of your character, you got to take care of your appearance, and you got to stay in shape. And I feel like that's one thing that kind of levels you above a lot of these guys around here is because you take every one of those steps seriously, man. Talk to me about, man, your training regimen and just how you stay looking like you do. And I know it builds your confidence. When you look good, you feel good, and your confidence grows, man. So talk to me about your training and stuff.
Well, lately I kind of changed up my training a little bit, and I also changed up my diet to where I need to, well, I eat a little bit more protein. But when it comes to the training process, I just do. I lift heavy, but I don't lift too heavy to the point to where it's not. I don't have bad form. So it's
Right.
just I just weight lift probably. I work out probably 3 to 4 times a week. I do cardio probably 2 to 3 times a week, and um, and I eat clean majority of the week until it's like probably the weekends where I let it go. A lot of these people in the Mid South area, they do the opposite. They don't work out at all, and they do this whole thing to where they will eat completely bad also throughout the whole entire week.
Right.
So the thing is, though, when it comes to staying in shape and it comes to looking like, no pun intended, but pun intended, it's a vain business.
Exactly.
I was one of the things I like to listen to is this guy named Mike Quackenbush. He has this channel on YouTube called Till We Make It. One of the things he said that definitely stood out to me is that people who a person's look and who they know will go to the front of the line, will supersede anybody else in this business. How they
Talent.
look and who they know.
That's the first thing. I'm glad you said that because I was just thinking about that earlier today. That is the first thing that gets eyes on you. If there is somebody important somewhere that sees you, it's your appearance. That's the very first things that makes them take notice. That draws their attention, and then you get to show them what you can do. Then they're paying attention. But you can be the greatest wrestler in the world in the ring, but if they're not paying you any attention, it's all for naught. It means nothing, man.
You see, the thing is though, is you got to look at, for example, they can teach anybody how to wrestle. Granted, the bell has to ring, a Derek King quote. The bell still has to ring, but the thing is though, is that look at Jay Cargill, look at uh, Parker Boudreaux, Jay
Right.
Cargill, freaking who else? Eva Marie. They gave her like 2 or 3, 5, 6, 7 chances. when it came to WWE, because of Ronda Rousey. They give these people these chances because of A, how they look, and what they bring to the table when it comes to wrestling, period. Because how they looks larger than life. Their persona is larger than life.
Right.
That's just Kurt Angle when he first started. He learned everything. He built the plane as he was flying it.
Right. And Jade Cargill, man, if they ever get her, man, if her in ring skill ever matches her look, dude, she's money. I mean, already she's money. I
Hmm.
love her, and I'm so glad that she made the move to WWE because AEW was not going to get the proper training and be taught the business like she needs to be. WWE is the place for her. I'm glad to see her there, man, and you can tell she's improved. I mean, they've got her doing more spots and more integral stuff than she was in AEW.
Yeah,
But her appearance,
she was having like what 5 minute matches. I think she was having more squash matches than anything in AEW, which is fine. Especially she was like 8 months at the time, which is absolutely fine. Especially putting her out there on TV. But
right?
it's just like I said, when it comes to a lot of these different, you get more chances off of that. Um, Simply how you look, from what I've seen, than you would um, if you would if you did not look like anything.
Oh yeah,
Because you have to have a level of believability. I mean, look at Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan, he's no Bret Hart in the ring, but he's one of the reasons why there were two major booms in professional wrestling.
right. Especially at that time, Hogan was the babyface giant, man. I mean, nobody was big like that, looked like that, the blonde hair. And when you see Hulk Hogan, you pay attention to him long before he was Hulk Hogan. If you were anywhere and you seen this big giant blonde headed dude walking around, all eyes are going to turn and check him out. And that's how you get noticed in this business. That's what does it before anything else, man.
And and I think not just pro wrestling in this area, but I think a lot of mainstream when it comes to professional wrestling kind of goes away from that too. But there's a lot of people, especially in this area, that look like they work at Starbucks, or they look like they work at Jiffy Lube,
Or
or
mechanics.
they they look like they work at they look they check my groceries out there in freaking at Walmart
A lot of
than
them do,
actual
though,
professional
Dorian.
wrestlers.
I mean, a lot of them actually do all those things, man. So look, we got the King superstar Johnny Dotson. He's on here with us.
Oh, look
Uh,
at him.
Man, I seen you on Bluff City a few times a while back. You're coming up. You're going to be this Saturday. You say you're going to be back at EPW.
Hmm.
You're everywhere. But look, man, I heard a little. We was talking about diet and food, and it kind of made me think of this. Talk to me about this working the concession stand thing that I've heard about, man. Talk to me about that, dude.
So after I beat up Rocker's kids, I had to be put on the commissioner, Chris White, put me on punishment or whatever. And out of that, working the concession stand to be fired. So I was like, you know what? I'll do concession stand, no problem. And doing the whole concession stand, it was a night off for me. But the problem that I had with working the concession stand is what led into the issue between DJ Fury and Chris Nesbitt, because I had to end up. They were laughing, joking, and I think the thing is, though, the problem I had with it is a simple fact of laughing at me, and I'm the reason why that all this stuff is going on in MIW, and you laugh at me. It's like
You're the
disrespecting a parent.
well,
You know
you're
what I
the
mean?
provider.
Exactly. It's like disrespecting your parent. It's like disrespecting grandmas, like disrespecting grandpas, like biting the hand that feeds you. And that's why they got beat up.
Nick's come back. She said, bet the concession stand sold out that night. You sell a lot of concessions, Dorian.
I always saw all kinds of Mountain Dew. You know a funny story, true story. I had I had yelled out, "Hey, all Mountain Dew is sold out. I want to tell you, there was a match going on. I want to tell you, the whole place just got silent. I was like, my bad. I
So
was like,
look, man, I think you're
hit
gonna
some
have to
Mountain Dew.
get you a list, man. You're gonna have to get you a list of Jericho. Dean Malenko's the man of 1,000 hoes, man. I'm feeling like you're gonna end up being the man of 1,000 monikers, dude.
Oh man, sometimes when you really when you when you get to a certain point, man, people want to call you all these different things. But the thing is, I just one subject I'm kind of thinking about, and I have had this conversation with a guy named Walker 13 before, and it's kind of a hot take, but I don't really care. So this might give me some heat. But the thing is that me and him had a conversation because Walker 13 is kind of a big dude. Me and him tagged once at EPW. And I have a take to where that I think professional wrestling was better when dudes were over 6 feet and above, and the guys were like 240, 260 pounds plus.
Yeah, see,
I
that used to
think,
be the average. Average. The small wrestlers were 6'6", 6'2", 240 pounds.
hmm but well, nowadays that's the big guy, I guess. But when it comes to, I mean, like the days of the Attitude Era, like when they had, you know, when Raven was a big deal, and freaking Bret Hart, and Stone Cold. I think Stone Cold was like 260. The Rock was 270. Triple H was like 260. I just think wrestling. I'm not saying smaller guys shouldn't be in this business. I was 5'7", 220. That's cool. But I just think that wrestling, especially mainstream wrestling, was a lot better when the guys were actually larger than life,
Right.
and the guys were actually, and they could work, and larger than life, because they were a lot more believable. In my opinion, they were a lot more believable. Like, you believed in Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior was a big deal. Like, you believed that Stone Cold versus The Rock was gonna be something huge. You actually believed that when you saw Batista versus Triple H in their three matches that they had, that it was a bunch of dudes. They were freaking after each other because all of it seemed credible. I'm not
Right.
saying that smaller guys shouldn't be in wrestling. I'm not saying that, because there's the Chris Jerichos of the world. There's the Daniel Bryans and all that other stuff. But I just think that wrestling to me was a huge deal. Was more of a larger than life spectacle when you had guys that were the
Larger
big
than life.
muscular, larger than life guys. Yeah, because their
Yeah, I
characters seem to be better. Because if you look at Scott Hall, when he was Razor Ramon, he was Razor Ramon in WWE, and he was Scott Hall in WCW. When Kevin Nash was Diesel and Kevin Nash was Kevin Nash in WCW, it just it just seemed like those guys were, you could feel like those guys were the guy. With Hulk
right.
Hogan, even when he slimmed down and was in WCW, you still felt like he was the guy.
Well, when you put them in the ring and you put them on a marquee larger than life, man, I miss the land of the giants. I'll be honest with you. Here's the thing. Like Johnny just said here, he said Benoit was not tall at all. British
British
Bulldog was
Bulldog was
small.
small. Yeah,
But here's the thing.
they were jacked.
But they were talented too.
Jacked. And they
They
were talented.
they were talented. Look, there's always been a place for small guys in the wrestling world.
Yes.
Bill Dundee, look at Bill Dundee. But it's
Yes.
the talent. The only thing I see
But they
about small guys, here's the problem. Like you said, when you're sitting out in the audience and you're looking up in the ring and you got each guy 6'3", 6'5", 6'6", and just huge, man, it's a spectacle. But when you think, if you're a small guy, you think, man, I don't think I could get in there and do that. But when you see guys your size in the ring doing this, and that's what we have a lot of nowadays, every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the crowd thinks they can be a wrestler. And they get to try it nowadays too. Used to, you couldn't get into business. like you can now. Nowadays, if guys decide one Friday night, I think I want to try this, sometimes by the next Saturday they're in a match somewhere, you know?
The thing is, though, when it comes to piggyback off of what Johnny said, Benoit was definitely a smaller dude, but Benoit was also could work. He was believable in his work
Right.
because he was ultra aggressive. But the thing is, though, but you believe when Chris Benoit's music hit, you absolutely believe somebody's about to get crossface and German suplex and all of that other stuff because Benoit brought a level of intensity to him. So, like I said before, it's the believability for me. When you saw Benoit, you didn't think that, oh, he's a small dude. You didn't think about that. You just thought about somebody's going to get whooped. Taz was 5'4", 260.
Right. And he was over.
So
Paul Lee got him over like he was. If you had never seen Taz and just heard about him, you think Taz is a monster, man. You think he's huge.
and the thing is though, he was shaped like a thumb.
Right.
Taz was a huge guy for his size. And that's what I'm trying to get at is the simple fact of when the guys were big jacked up dudes and it's like it's like that's where a lot of the talent came from. I'm not talking about like the real deal bodybuilder guys like Baracus and those guys. No, no, no,
Right.
no. I'm talking about a lot of the guys that are back there, they looked super credible. And that's why that's the part that I miss about wrestling too. Because granted, don't get me wrong, Daniel Bryan, okay. Will Ospreay, okay. But the thing is though, you bought into Taz giving somebody a Taz mission in a Tazplex. You brought into like Stone Cold being able to be if you saw The Rock versus the Big Show, you believe that the freaking The Rock had a chance to beat up the Big Show because it's The Rock.
Right.
And it's the character work, it's the entertainment factor, it's all that stuff that I don't think is in like for example, JBL when he did that switch from Bradshaw to JBL, and I watch a lot of JBL. I love JBL. So when you watch him in that transition from Bradshaw to JBL, it was an actual transition. It wasn't
Right.
a transition in his style. It was a transition into when it came to his character, and you hated him and you believed it. And you believed he could beat up all these guys. And
It
the
was a
thing is, though,
psychological transition. It was a
yes.
mental transition in him.
And even with when it came to Rey Mysterio when he won the World Heavyweight title. Granted, they didn't really treat him that great when he was losing. But when he won, you believed in the fact of him being the underdog, he possibly could have a chance. And the thing is, though, Rey Mysterio's actually incredible when it comes to his high flying stuff. And the thing is, though, I can't think of anybody besides Ricochet and that Viking dude that's in AAA that's because the Viking dude stands out now. But I can't think of any high flyers, not only just in this area, but in wrestling that just really stands out anymore. Because it
Right.
seems like everybody that does high flying stuff does the same high flying stuff.
You
And a
know, here's
lot of them don't have any character work. I've seen like Ricochet doesn't.
here's something I've thought about 100 times. Rey Mysterio, we all know he's got the talent. He can go in the fucking ring. One of the very best in the ring. But if he hadn't had the gimmick, the mask and stuff, would he have got as far? You think his
When
talent would have risen to the top like it did? I believe the character, man. I believe right guy, right time, right size. You know
if
what?
you look at his character work when he had to take the mask off when he was in WCW, he was partnered up with Conan as part of the Filthy Animals. He was super charismatic, like charismatic. Because during those times, it was like hip hop was a big deal and everything else.
Right.
Like he was super charismatic when he was alongside Conan. So I think so. Because it seemed like he was a little more free because he wasn't a babyface then. He was working heel, and the charisma of freaking Rey Mysterio during that time was different than when it comes to a babyface Rey Mysterio.
And here's the thing: at the end of the day, like Daniel Bryan, super talented guy in the wrestling ring. At the end of the day, Rey Mysterio could get in there and he could go with anybody. Even going against Kevin Nash, like you said, you could buy it. You could believe
Hmm.
that Rey Mysterio had a chance. Slim, but you could believe there might be a way he could win.
Yes.
Uh, Kind of takes me back to Bill Dundee. Look, Bill Dundee, especially during those years, but back in that time, it was still the land of the giants. Jerry Lawler's probably one of the smallest, most over guys, normal size guys there's ever been. But for Bill Dundee, with his size, he had to be super, super good and super talented in the ring to be second to Lawler. And I don't really consider him always second to Lawler. I think there's times through history that Bill Dundee was really number one in Memphis for a while. They kind of went back and forth. And like Johnny says here, he says, you couldn't get in the business without being brought in by a credible guy back in the day. And that's one thing I feel like hurts wrestling now is because, like I said, there's a guy who can decide he wants to start on a Friday night, wants to get into wrestling. He can be in a school anywhere and don't even really know if he's being trained right or wrong because he don't know nothing about the business and be in the ring in 3 weeks, man.
And I think we touched on this a lot. I think the last time we had the podcast, but you have to put the first hard work, you have to put the work in, you have to leave before anybody. So when the thing is though, it's we talked about this like I think the last podcast. I think that a lot of the guys who are like super credible um in the ring, who like the older school guys, like the Channel 5 dudes that's in this area. I think some parts either they don't want to deal with it or they don't want to really be involved in the training, or they're still probably still wrestling and they don't want to really just start training the next group of guys yet. I just think that a lot of the a lot of the guys who are experienced, especially in this area, either they probably aren't interested in training other guys or they don't have the time to train other guys or whatever have you. I just I think, granted, there's other schools. There's Johnny's school because Johnny ain't finna teach anybody wrong. There's APW with Ricky Kennedy out there with him, and they ain't finna play no shit with you.
Right,
They,
there's definitely
there's some
some
credible
reputable,
schools, but it's not enough of them, and that's
right,
what I'm
but
trying to get at.
Greg
There,
Anthony in Dyersburg. Here's the thing: a lot of people have a lot of opinions of him, but if you want to be
yes, they do.
trained to wrestle, he knows wrestling. He can if you want to be trained in the basics and be taught well, he knows wrestling. Same thing with Johnny. Johnny knows wrestling. APW, like you said.
Hmm.
Uh, there's a few more out there.
MCW does too, because they have
MCW,
Derek and all those guys come over there. But the thing
right?
is, though, there's not enough of them, especially compared to how many people who are untrained that go out here in this area. Because man, let me tell you something. I wrestle people to where I'm out of their first or second match. True story. So it's like it's which is no problem. But the thing is, though, what people don't understand is the fact that if you have to there's not enough schools in this area of people locally that's actually training people to where they are whether these guys can actually and then just sometimes they just let them go out there and I just to me I don't understand it. I don't understand, especially if you know you're untrained or you're not very you don't know or you wrestle it's also with you and there's some people that actually are trained that don't wrestle enough. 2 times in a month isn't enough to get good at this,
Right.
let alone wrestling twice every other month. Is dang sure not good in this. Some of these people, there's some people who are actually are trained that went to other places, that went to somewhere like I would say in whoever and got trained by a pretty decent guy that just they probably didn't make it. But the thing is though, and they will come here, but they take it as a part-time game, a part-time gig. They don't take it that seriously, so they wrestle here and there, and their skills aren't good. They
Right. And
don't
that
get any of this stuff, and then they sit here and they just and they sit here and they have matches and it looks like crap for the simple fact of they just don't care about it enough.
And see, that right there all starts with training. You find a good reputable trainer, you weed a lot of these wannabe wrestlers out immediately. A lot of them come in, they go through a class or something, a session, and then you never see them again. The guys who continue to come back are the guys who's got the heart and want it, because at the end of the day, like you said, you can teach people how to wrestle. Charisma's a different thing, but you can teach people how to wrestle. But these guys have to want it. Wrestling's a business built on heart and desire, and you have to want it. If you think it's all fun and games and you just want to wrestle in front of your friends, then 9 times out of 10, if you end up at a reputable training facility, you're not going to make it through. They're going to weed you out quick because you ain't got the desire or the passion for it to want to put in what it takes to do it. Like Nick
And
says here, Nick says, everybody wants to be the guy or girl who's going to put out the work, though, put in the work, though. True words right there, Dorian.
I 100% agree with you. It's not even just to me, it's not even just the fact of, but they're also looking to get paid. Some of these guys, they put
Right,
in they put in below standard work, not even passable, and they put in below standard work, and they expect. And the thing is, the part that gets on my nerves the most is the fact of is that you have to be cool with sometimes not getting paid at all. Like I've been to places where I knew I was definitely not getting paid, and I
right,
was there. I was there to get looked at. I was there to see where I was at on the food chain and what I needed to do to excuse me to get better. And
right,
that's you got to do that. You got to do it more than once. You got to do it more than 2 times. You have to do it enough to where either they take notice or you get actually better. And that's one of the things that helped me. Me constantly going to places to where me getting critiqued every single Friday night and me going to paying to go to places to get looked at people at the level that I want to get to and telling me what I need to work on and not
right.
just taking it as they're trying to taking criticism in, being coachable, taking that criticism and not as if they're trying to, oh man, they don't know what they're talking about. You're insane. They're at the level you want to be at, and you mean to tell me you're not, you paid for their opinion,
Why
and
did
you're
you
gonna
even
sit here
come?
and not even take it.
Right,
It
right.
makes no sense to me.
And look,
And the
Johnny,
thing,
no, go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Dorian. No, go ahead, Dorian.
And the thing is though, and some of the stuff of the guys in the area, they're going to, they ask you for their opinion. They're going to ask you for their opinion. They're going to tell you some stuff some guys at the level you want to be at will tell you. But there's also information that the guys at that level will tell you that sometimes the guys out here that's been wrestling for a while don't know. So it pays for you not only just for them to see you, but also pays for you to be able to hear their side of it as well on what you might not be thinking of that could get you to that next level.
Right, right. Look, Johnny says, you have to look the part, you have to be the part. It's hard work. You have to be willing to put the work in, and you have to believe before anyone else does. And that's something Bill Dundee told me and my brother. He said, you have to believe who you are when you step through those ropes. How are any of these fans going to believe in you if you do not believe in yourself?
That's what Alan Steele. You know what's funny? Alan Steele, when he was training me, that's what Alan Steele had told me. He was like, Jason, it might sound a little silly, but when I go through those ropes, I believe that ain't nobody gonna touch me. I'm the baddest motherfucker here. And I listen to that and I try and I incorporate that into my own stuff. It's funny because some of the stuff, the little stuff that Johnny has told me, he catches on to that I catch on to things. And stuff that Derek's told me and stuff that Alan told me that might seem trivial to other people, but I've always put it in my back pocket to some of the stuff that they have said to me, especially when it comes to Alan and some of the stuff he says. Like Alan is Granted, Dara's giving me the most critiques, but Alan's giving me the level of certain levels of little nuggets that I linger with me at all times.
Right. Now, here's the thing. You got good people like that that's willing to impart them little bits of knowledge to you. If you're willing to listen to them and take them, like you said, stick them in the back pocket. A lot of these things, man, you figure out, man, these guys know what they're talking about, and a lot of these things they tell you are important things. The thing about wrestling, even in the ring and angles, I see everybody wants to do all the big things, but they don't do the small things to make the big things actually work and get the reaction that you want out of them. And it's just, it's too many people get in the business too easy now. And look, here, Johnny, he's back and he said, it's the veterans' fault. We let these untrained guys in the business because we are whores for the ring and have drug heads and alcoholics. That's wrestlers for a drink or some weed. And I mean, like what did I tell you from the get go? If you ain't in this business to be the guy or the girl, then get out of it. And because that's a spot, man, that somebody who actually wants to make it in this business can have. Johnny he said we have to start working these mud shows. And he come back and he says we have to stop working these mud shows with untrained wrestlers and untrained promoters. Everyone has to be trained, referees, everyone. And my brother never had any intentions of wrestling. He always wanted to be my manager. But the first thing Jeff Jarrett told him, he had to go through the class too. You want to be a manager, you got to get in the ring and be trained too. You got to go through the class, man. Referees the same way. All these guys should have to go through wrestling training. I mean, as a referee, somewhere down the line, you're going to be taking bumps. You're going to be getting bumped in this stuff. So, and you don't want it to look like wrestler bumps, but you still need to know how to do this stuff so you don't hurt yourself or somebody else, man.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is, it's like, especially with having people be trained and everything else. Like you have to, because it'll get unsafe at one point, especially when it comes to not only just for the other person you're working, but when it comes to just yourself in general. Like if you don't know how to take a bump and you take it completely the wrong way, you can easily hurt yourself.
Right.
And because I remember I was watching, it was like a clip of David Flair hitting the ropes doing a WCW taping. You seen that?
I think Johnny shared that actually.
I was like,
I see it.
oh
You just
my
seen it
God.
recently, right? It was on Facebook.
Yes, it was. It had to be Johnny.
I think Johnny shared it. Yes,
And
I
I'm
seen
like,
it.
and the thing is though, is that speaking of Johnny, I think there's a lot of people that don't get as much credit as they deserve when it comes to this area. And I think a few of those people, I don't think Ricky Kennedy gets a whole lot of credit for what he's able to do out there at APW and the people and that he's able to not only just train him, but what he's also produced from APW and is strictly from the ground up. I don't think he gets enough praise for that. No, well, pun intended. No, I don't really hand that out, but I don't think he does. I don't think Johnny, because Johnny's a good guy. And I don't hate to say it. Johnny's is a good guy, and I've thought it for a long time. I don't think that he gets enough. I don't think Martin Borden gets enough praise for what he's done. Presh, I don't think he does.
Right.
And I don't think, and there's a group of guys. There's two guys for sure that I don't think gets enough, and I think they're definitely one of the best tag teams in the area, and I love them to a certain degree. No, I don't say I love them. Definitely respect them. You know, okay. But Full Deck, Big Ace and his brother Joker. Man,
Dude.
I'm not gonna say they're the best tag team in Memphis, because that's gonna give me heat because there's a lot of people that I know that are tag teams, but they are the most fluid tag team I have ever worked in my. I don't know, it's because they're brothers. I don't know, it's because they've been working for so long. I don't know what it is, but their level of fluidity in there when it comes to it's like they have like one brain when they're out there. It's crazy.
Yeah, man, I think they should be featured somewhere around here on one of the television products. I don't
They're
know. I don't know either guy personally now, and I've actually seen Big Ace live a bunch of times before I even knew he had a brother. And I'm gonna tell you something. Even Big Ace by himself, Big Ace is a star already. He just needs the opportunity and someone that has a little bit of vision and some direction to put him out there, man. He's
I've
awesome, man.
I've worked him as a um I worked him as a single. I worked him also in the tag. I definitely respect Big Ace to a huge degree because we've wrestled and committed to wrestling together. Matter of fact, we are my I when we ended up having a singles match after the battle royal because we ended up getting double eliminated and I had to work him in the singles. As many issues I've had with Big Ace and committed, can't help but say I don't respect Big Ace. Big respect to Big Ace.
Yeah, man. I think Big Ace, man. Here's my thing. I think somebody needs to put him on TV and let him be him. Let him be him. Don't try to change him. Don't just give him some direction. Give him some good stuff to do.
I think Johnny did that when he had the torture chamber stuff.
Just man, and that was as close to Big Ace as I've ever seen on
Hmm.
TV anywhere around here. That was as close to the real Big Ace as I've seen anybody let him be. But dude, Memphis wrestling, Big Ace is the type of guy. Memphis wrestling is so bright colored and everything so glitzy and glammy. If you just took him and dropped him out of a helicopter into the middle of the ring, think about the contrast you would have there, man. It
Hmm.
would be immediate interest, man.
Yeah.
And Joker, I've never seen him live. I've seen a lot of his matches now, but never live. But being brothers too, like you said, they got one brain in there. They know each other. They know what each other's thinking. They know what each other's going to do. They know what this one, while he's doing this, they know what's coming next already.
But the thing is, though, like I said before, but back to the original subject that a lot of people don't get, what we talked about earlier about promoting mediocrity. And and that's one of the issues. Granted, none of these people are named really are looking for it, nor they really need it. But recognition and people acknowledging the fact of what you what you contribute and what you actually do is really nice to hear. The thing is, though, when it comes to APW, when it comes to, and also let me bring up Osceola. Osceola, like I said before, I don't think gets enough praise as they should as well. I don't think,
Right.
and MIW, same thing. I think all the places I've been to don't get enough when it comes to it, because, and same thing when it goes to, well, when it comes to it, well, committed is doing their thing. But when it comes to, like I said before, some of these things that people don't understand is that they deserve a certain level of credibility when it comes to stuff, some of the stuff that they do, especially when it comes to certain talent. And I think that not only does Ricky Kennedy pushes his people, but he wants them to go out there and work and wants them and supports them. And I think that's a beautiful thing to have. I think APW, EPW, and Osceola are, when it comes to a training environment, are one of the main ones that they don't coddle you, but they're like a family of some sort, and they actually they let you be you out there, and they go over stuff. It's just like I said before. I don't think enough credibility is given when it comes to credit is given to certain people in this area. I think, like I said before, too much mediocrity is promoted, especially in the tri-state area. Too much mediocrity.
We can tell that ain't something Dorian Vane gives a shit about's mediocrity.
I do not like, because the thing is, though, I work a lot. to not be to be good at this, as Derek would say. I work my ass off to be good at this. And then when I see people thinking they should get something and they didn't do what they needed to do to be good at this, it irritates me because you should not be in the, especially if you're in a better position, you're in a position in the car to where I know for a fact it's probably was a homie hookup or it was something else.
Right.
And it irritates me. It irritates me to no end because the simple fact of, I know people are thinking, oh, who am I to say any of this stuff? But the thing is, though, you know who it is. Like I have eyes, just like everybody else does. The fact of when it comes to this type of stuff, it's always the mediocrity that gets promoted.
Right. And
And it,
here, go ahead, Dorian. Go ahead.
no, no, you're good, you're good.
Well, I was just gonna say wrestling is a thankless job, like you were talking about Ricky and MCW and all these different people that go out of their way to help their talent, want them to get bigger opportunities. Wrestling's a thankless job, whether you're on that end or whether you're in the ring. And I'm sure there's probably a lot of guys hating on you right now because here's the thing: it takes a lot of confidence from these promoters for you to be running around here 3 championships, man, in 3 different companies. That means these guys, that's a compliment unto itself. They believe you, and that's a huge credit to you, man.
The thing is, though, it's a simple. Well, I'm a professional first and foremost, and secondly is the fact I'm dependable, which ties into professionalism. But um, I listen to the people around me that are better than me, and that's one of the things that's definitely helped me along was listening to people who are better than me. I don't sit here and not listen to the people who I know for a fact are better than me. It does not make any sense. Like
Right?
the Martin Boards and the Derek Kings and the Alan Steeles and the Johnny Dotsons, and the Ricky Kennedys, I listen to what they tell me because they are better than I am. I'm not going to sit here and just be like, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean? And once you listen to the people that are better than you, and they take the time to give you that critique, they take the time to, hey, bud, if you did this and did this a little bit better, it'll look a whole lot better. Who am I to tell you, oh man, I don't know what you're talking about, man. He's just being a hater. No.
Right.
And the thing is, though, and then when you do all these different things and you work as much as I do and maintain the look, you maintain and you try very hard to get better in the ring by getting your reps in, by attempting to wrestle people better than you. When you go out there and you do this and you do that and you do this and you do that, so that way you can get better and see where you're at in the food chain. Stuff like when that happens, and then that's when you start getting better than everybody else. But nobody's never ever, excuse me, acted like that they were jealous of me or anything. I don't think people are jealous of me. I think when they see me, they kind of understand. The same thing when people see Bullwhip. When people see Bullwhip, you can't get upset about Bullwhip. You kind of have to understand. It's one of those things you kind of have to understand why it's the way that is. Like you have to get it. There is no well, why did Bullwhip get this? Because Bullwhip's talented. That's why. Well, why did Dorian get this? Because Dorian's talented. Well, why did Nix get this? Nix is talented.
Right.
Why is who's also really let me stop before I get some heat. Because I want to keep naming names and people get upset with me. I don't have time for all that.
You steady trying to get yourself in trouble, man.
I'm trying very hard not to, but it's like I'm pretty sure the same thing happened back in the day when it came to Derek and Allen. I'm pretty sure the stuff happened same back in the day when it came to Johnny. Like, why are these guys getting up? Because they're talented, because they're good at what they do and they take it seriously. And I know for a fact Derek dang sure takes it seriously.
Right.
But, and of course, all these guys, they take it seriously, but nevertheless. But it's just, I don't know.
Here's the thing. Listening is one of the most important skills in the wrestling business. People don't realize, especially when you're young, breaking in an aspiring wrestler, they used to tell us, mouth closed, ears open. You can learn so much by actually listening than you can if you're in there talking and you think you already know it all, man. It's one of the biggest attributes to a good pro wrestler is being able to listen.
I'm gonna check in, change locations real quick. I don't want my phone to die. Give me some change locations real quick, dude. I'm sorry, not trying to be rude.
No, we fixing to wrap it up anyway, Dorian. We right at 90 minutes.
Oh, okay, okay then.
But I do want you to promote anything you got coming up. I want you to promote how if there's any promoters out there watching, they can get in touch with you and where you're gonna be and stuff, man. Any social media you got and any of that, Dorian.
Okay. Dorian Bain _556 is my Instagram. This Friday night, I will be in my W in Middleton, Tennessee, going one-on-one with 108. I think it's 108 Henderson Street in Middleton, Tennessee, going one-on-one for my MIW Heavyweight Championship against a DJ Fury. Saturday night, I will be afternoon. I will be in Boonville, Mississippi, for EPW. And the following Friday, I will be at Committed to Wrestling here in Memphis, Tennessee on Southern Avenue. Bell time's at 7:30. What am I doing that following Saturday? I'm doing something that following. I gotta check my schedule. I'm doing something else that following Saturday. And then there we go. That's the next 2 weeks. And I am I'm on Facebook, Dorian Bain. And then I'll be, there we go.
Like, all you got to do, you're the dude with all the gold, man. You the champ, man.
Champ.
There you go, man. Dorian, always a blast with you, man.
Always a pleasure, man.
I appreciate you so much for coming on, giving us your time, man. And speaking candidly, like you have, dude, got my fingers crossed for you, man. I'm ready to see you, man.
Same.
Let's keep them guessing, dude.
Let's keep them guessing. You never know. One of these days.
Oh, dude, you keep pushing forward with your attitude. It's gonna happen. It's definitely gonna happen. There ain't no doubt in my mind, dude. Dorian,
100%.
You have a great night, man, and I appreciate you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Buster.
You're welcome, dude. All right, y'all, you seen it right there, Dorian Bain. Go check this man out. He is the provider. He's the provider of entertainment in all these different wrestling shows. You don't become the triple champ for nothing. Go check him out anywhere he's at. MIW, NOCW, Committed to Wrestling, EPW, 901 Wrestling. You never know where this guy's going to pop up at. Guys, I want to first of all, I got to get used to doing this. Guys, go be sure to like this podcast, share this podcast, and go to Buster H.R. Johnson on YouTube. And like I said, subscribe. I've got to get used to doing that. I never do it, but I've been told I should. So I'm going to give it a try and see what it does. Be sure to go subscribe to Buster H.R. Johnson on YouTube. Tomorrow night, special start time, 8 p.m. It's Slammer time. I'm back with Chris Slammer tomorrow night, special start time, 8 p.m. Do not miss it.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're with my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.